Hey everybody, it's Karyn Bryant for MMA Heat. I'm here with
Pete coming.
and we are, I gotta be honest with you folks, we're on holiday. Our children are on spring break. So we are still doing the podcast, and here's our 2-minute countdown to our 5 rounds. We're going to have actually a lot of fun tonight. We're actually going to hear from Iaquinta, who's going to talk about the World Series of Fighting and the Bellator fights this past weekend. We'll also hear from Liz Carmouche talking about the food she gives up in fight camp. Of course, both Al and Liz fighting at UFC Fairfax next weekend. And Pete, how's spring break going for you so far, though? Is it good?
Spring break's good. We have our kids in camp that's at their school.
Right.
For some reason, they haven't equated to the fact that they ended school Thursday, and then Friday morning they went to camp at school and got dropped off at the same exact time and got picked up at the same time.
Right.
They seem to enjoy it, though. So, yeah, no, so we're doing all right.
Nice. Well, obviously, we're not in the studio. I'm on the road. We came to Denver to visit Wade's family, and so it's nice. You know, the weather, luckily, I'm glad it's not snowing. I'm not a big snow fan. The Munchkin was hoping for some of that, but I don't really miss the snow. Of course, I'll be back during the week. Of course, we have UFC tonight, and then I'm working Friday and Saturday for the UFC Fairfax stuff, and we'll get into that a little bit. But busy week, and the Fairfax shows are very early in the morning. Cry for me, everybody. I have a 6 a.m. call time Friday and a 4 a.m. call time Saturday. Ouch.
Except you coal miners out there, we don't actually expect you to cry for a cat.
That's what I said to somebody. I'm like, what? You know, at 4 a.m., if my soy latte with an extra shot of espresso isn't just the right temperature, someone's getting hurt.
Wait, so what time are the fights then?
Well, that's the whole thing. It's breakfast with the UFC. We got about 10 seconds. Breakfast with the UFC on Saturday because of March Madness basketball game Saturday night. They want to get the fights done early. So I've got the schedule. I'll tell everybody. But it's Saturday morning fights. First fights are actually quite early. So it's kind of cool. West Coast, you know, you just kind of wake up.
UFC.
Yeah. All right. Round 1.
Okay.
Let's talk about what happened this past weekend at the World Series of Fighting and Bellator. We'll start with Bellator on Friday. Marcos Galvão gets the submission over the former champ, Joe Warren, in the second round. It's a knee bar. It's a verbal submission. Joe protests this after Big John stops the fight. I'm curious what you thought of this, because he screamed out in pain, and they always tell you in a fighter meeting that a verbal submission will count.
Yeah, and that wasn't just that wasn't no, that was no. He you know, and I saw him protesting afterwards, and it's like, dude, do we have to show you the videotape? Yeah. Do we, you know, I've often protested that I wasn't an ass when I was drunk, and then I've seen tape of me, and it's like, you never really want to watch the tape. Hey, you know what is Joe Warren is? He actually looks like a nice guy, but who's adopted this persona of like, I will kill you. You know, he's got like this pro wrestling kind of persona, like he's gonna go down, I'm gonna break him, and so you kind of can't help, like when he walks in the ring, go like, you know, I wouldn't mind if you lost.
Well, that's his whole thing. He's the baddest man on the planet.
But he actually looks like he's probably a really nice guy.
He's cool. So. He's cool. The last time I saw him, I guess, was at that wrestling thing. He's a cool dude. Like you would actually really like to hang out with him. But dude, you verbally submitted. There was no way you can't cry out like that and pretend it's all good and keep going. I mean, right. I don't know. And I always think for Big John, you know, to err on the side of caution for the fighter is what he's supposed to do. LC Davis versus Hideo Tokoro. Now, the score was 29-28 Tokoro and then 29-28 twice for LC Davis. LC lost a bunch of teeth in that fight. That was insane. A lot of people are already saying this is a candidate for Fight of the Year.
Now, did he really, I saw his mouth was bleeding, but he really lost teeth?
Yeah. I'm not sure how many. I'll have to go back and check, but there were some gifs and some pictures they showed later. Teeth missing. Blood.
So the bottom teeth.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell you though, that Japanese jiu-jitsu,
right?
Like, I mean, he was going for those takedowns in that round, And it wasn't like the measured Brazilian like get position.
Right.
He was just like oh, you know what? It was like origami. It was like human origami. And it's like, oh my god, you might land that.
Nice.
No,
That was cool. And listen, Elsie Davis has been around forever. So is Tokoro. Elsie, I know, had a lot of respect for him. That was a fun fight. Also on that, Francis Carmouche, who was formerly in the UFC, victorious in a unanimous decision. So, things don't really change. Francis, not necessarily evolving. He was pretty much all decisions, I believe, in the UFC as well. But I got to give my props to Ryan Couture getting the first round submission over Dakota Cochran. It only took him, 3 minutes and 23 seconds to get the rear naked choke in the first round. And Ryan is such a good guy. Obviously, the son of the great Randy Couture. So very happy for him in that fight.
Okay, here's a point I have to make. What? And this is the difference, I think, between Bellator and the UFC. It's like, okay, Ryan Couture, like, how many...
Just letting you know, yeah.
I haven't even started yet. You're like, just letting you know
no,
that
I'm just
you should
giving
really
an update.
wrap it up.
I'm sorry. No, I wasn't saying wrap it up. I'm just letting you know. My bad.
No, but here's the thing. It's like, he's done, what, 4 rear naked chokes in a row now?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, but that's not happening in the UFC. 4 rear naked chokes in a row. Besides Ronda Rousey doing an armbar on everybody, I don't think someone's doing four rear naked chokes.
Well,
in the
we'll
UFC.
get into the discussion about submissions and finishes later when we talk about Lamas and Chad Mendes. Listen, maybe you're making a comment on who he's fighting. Listen, I just know that Ryan is a guy who kind of started later for what a lot of MMA guys do, and is doing well. He's a real good guy. I'm happy for him. Quickly, World Series of Fighting. Thiago Silva was supposed to fight Matt Hamill. Matt Hamill goes to IHOP in the morning, supposedly, with a bunch of people. Pulls out of the fight. Night of. Thiago Silva gets a new opponent. Gets knocked out. But that main event, Justin Gaethje versus Luis Palomino, back and forth, just bananas, until it ended with Gaethje keeping his title.
That was a great fight, too. That was a great fight. But first of all, is that the worst advertisement for IHOP you've ever heard?
Totally. Totally.
10
seconds.
Even IHOP can't understand why a fighter went there before they fought. They're like, we advertised ourselves as the 4 a.m. you're drunk thing. We never said we were a fight before this.
Yeah, no, it's not smart. But listen, that was interesting. We're between rounds now. I'm happy for Justin Gaethje. That was a fight where it went back and forth, but it is one of those things where it was kind of like a bar fight, where I'm not sure that the best, striking defense and stuff like that was on display, but an entertaining fight, certainly.
Again, those World Series of Fighting, they're like bar fights. Listen, it's really entertaining, but the quality is not the UFC.
Well, we're actually going to hear in round 2 from UFC fighter Iaquinta, who is a number 15 lightweight right now in the UFC, and he's fighting at UFC Fairfax. Well, the great thing about Al and a lot of fighters is it doesn't matter what organization you're in. They love to watch fights as well, and Al is fighting next week, and I caught up with him just this very morning, Sunday morning here, and now we're going to be able to hear what Al Iaquinta thought of the fights this past weekend. So I'm here with Al Iaquinta, who, of course, is a UFC lightweight, but, that doesn't mean you don't watch other fights. There was a barn burner last night, Justin Gaethje and Palomino. What did you think of that fight?
That was an all-out war. Those guys went toe-to-toe for, what was it, 2 rounds straight? Did it make it to the third? I don't even know.
It got to the third. It did get to the third, but it was like the whole time somebody was going down. I just didn't know which one.
Yep. No, they were back and forth. That was... definitely one of the most exciting fights I've seen as a fan in a long time. Those guys are just going back and forth, and the momentum swings from Palomino would tag him with 3 shots and push him up against the cage, and then Gaethje would come back, and his leg kicks are what ended up finishing him. Those were some brutal leg kicks. He just about kicked them across the cage there that one time.
Yeah.
But and you know what else he did? He did the rock bottom. He hit him with the rock bottom right there, the takedown when he had him.
So what is that one?
I've never seen that in MMA. I've seen The Rock do it a bunch of times, but he pulled it off in MMA. That was pretty crazy.
And that one, because walk me through that. I don't even know. I'm not a pro wrestling person. The rock bottom
kind of had like the head and arm choke,
right?
and then he just picked him up and threw him on his back from there. It was pretty impressive from a pro wrestling standpoint.
Yeah.
He did it. He might have done it better than The Rock does it in fake wrestling in real MMA. So that's pretty impressive.
Nice. Now, actually, there is WrestleMania tonight. Are you watching that?
I don't think I'll be watching that. Unfortunately I'll be at the gym. Yeah.
Nah, good for you. It's better.
I'm
for
not
you.
a big. I haven't bought a wrestling pay per view since I've been in like high school and middle school. But I still love the Iron Sheik though. The Iron Sheik's the man.
Nice. And what about the LC Davis fight on Friday night on Bellator? There was a really close fight with him and Hideo Tokoro, and LC lost a bunch of teeth.
Oh, did he lose?
Yeah.
I kind of thought I saw at the end. That was those guys went at it too. The first 2 rounds, LC won, hurt him pretty good, but then that 3rd round, Tokaru is his name. He was going for submissions from everywhere. I thought he was gonna finish that fight a bunch of times in the 3rd round. But LC Davis got out of all of them. Just barely got out of a bunch of submissions and ended up getting the win. Ended up getting the victory. So that was a good fight. I remember LC Davis from back in he was in the IFL, I think, all the way back.
Around.
So I saw him. I figured, oh man, LC Davis, he's going to be a big favorite to beat this guy. And first 2 rounds looked like it was going that way. Mm-hmm. 3rd round, that Japanese guy, he put it on him. That was fun to watch too.
And I have to guess that probably gets you fired up for your own fight too. Just watching these guys go in there and smash, and you have just T-minus 7 days.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I see all these crazy fights, and I'm definitely, I want mine to be a little cleaner, a little smoother, though.
That's what I was gonna say.
Those guys in that Palomino and Justin Gaethje. I don't know how many fights you got in like that you have in your career.
Right.
You gotta really choose when you're gonna have those fights, and I think you gotta try to keep it a little more clean than that. A little more defense, a little cleaner on the offense, but. Man, were those exciting to watch.
They were. I agree with you. It was a little bit like a late night in a bar, but better, but
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, thanks so much, Al. We're really looking forward to seeing you throw down in the co-main event at UFC Fairfax.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Karyn.
Okay, Pete, so Al Iaquinta, great guy, very sort of, New York, Italian. Quiz for you. Do you know what is in an Italian sub? List me the ingredients that are in an Italian sub. Go.
Okay. There is bologna.
Well, capicola might be bologna, but I don't think so. I'll give it to you.
Okay. Oh, ham.
Yes.
Salami.
Yes.
Provolone.
Yes.
What else am I missing?
The greens. What's like the veggie stuff in it?
Oh, the veggie stuff. There's gonna be a little relish. No. A little mustard.
No.
Onions.
Yes.
Tomatoes.
Yes.
Lettuce.
Yes. Iceberg lettuce. Then they pour something over it.
Yeah, the oil and vinegar.
Yes.
And then salt and pepper.
Yes, Pete.
All right.
Great job. And the peppers are optional. Great job. Yes, ham, capicola, provolone, Genoa salami, iceberg lettuce, tomatoes, onions, red wine vinegar, and oil, salt and pepper, oregano. I'm kind of giving you a pass on that one. Pepper's optional. I love it. Well, for you and me back in Boston, we would call that a grinder. But I had to see. I was just curious if you knew it was an Italian sub.
So who calls it a hoagie? Is that Philadelphia?
Hoagies, I think, is Philly or something. Yeah, because a lot of people call them subs, but I know you and I grew up with it being called a grinder.
I remember sub, but then again, I kind of grew up outside of New York a little bit.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, folks. I should let you know in these few seconds. I have a full interview with Al Iaquinta. We talk about his fight with Masvidal that's coming up at UFC Fairfax. We talk about his thoughts on his teammate, Chris Weidman, fighting Vitor Belfort. We talk about his dream fight at Madison Square Garden. Al is a great kid, so we talk about a lot of stuff. Real cool guys. So just go to either our Facebook page or YouTube.com/Karyn Bryant to see the full interview with Al Iaquinta. Okay, round 3. Pete, UFC Fairfax coming up this weekend. Headlined by Chad Mendes versus Ricardo Lamas. Now, Chad Mendes is the ranked number 1. Obviously, Jose Aldo is the champion. Ricardo Lamas ranked number 4 right now. Both of these guys have fought Aldo before and have lost. Even in Chad's mind, though, he says, listen, this is the battle to find out who is really the true number 1 contender in this. Chad, I got some facts. Chad has the most knockouts in featherweight history in the UFC. It's 4. I mean, it could be a higher number, I suppose, but the most knockouts in featherweight history. Lamas has the second most finishes, so if you include his submissions and stuff. But the funny thing is there's a lot of guys tied for the most finishes in the featherweights. Dustin Poirier has 5, and then tied at number 2 with 4 finishes is Lamas, Max Holloway, Conor McGregor, Chad Mendes, Charles Oliveira, and Cub Swanson. But featherweight division right now, a lot of heat on it. I spent some time with Jose Aldo and Conor McGregor this week. I'm actually really looking forward to this fight. Money Mendez and Ricardo Lamas. This will be a good fight.
I'm looking forward to it. Listen, Mendez he's tough and he wants it again. And listen, he fought Aldo. I mean, that was a great fight. So he's the one. I mean, he really banged up. He did not make Jose look any prettier.
No, he stuck it to Jose Aldo quite well. I mean, listen, if you're comparing the fights, Chad did better against Jose than Ricardo did. Ricardo really wasn't able to get any of his own game off. Jose really was more dominant in that fight. But the interesting thing with Aldo is kind of like the more you push him, the harder you push him, the harder you get it back. And
right.
So the fight with Chad Mendes was much more aggressive because Chad, pushed him harder. Here's a couple of more interesting things. Chad Mendes has the highest striking defense in featherweight history. So that means this guy really doesn't get hit very much. 71.9% defense there. So it is hard to hit Chad Money Mendes. But Ricardo Lamas, if he gets 1 takedown, he's 6-1 in those fights. 6-1 in a fight in which he gets at least 1 takedown.
All right, so let me get my calculator
Get your calculator out.
All right, the winner is... we carry the 1, use cosine tangent.
Cosine. Interesting. Listen, it's an interesting matchup. Both these guys have great wrestling backgrounds, so maybe they'll cancel each other out, and maybe they'll have a fight on the feet. If they have a fight on the feet, Chad has better defense. We'll see what happens. Ricardo has some decent kicks. It's a fun card, though, actually. I will be at the desk for Fox on the weigh-ins and on fight night, but it's fight day. Like I said, this is breakfast with the UFC.
First of all, I love that, breakfast with
I know.
UFC.
It's kind of fun.
Do you remember that strip bar out of Boston? They used to have legs and eggs.
Legs
it was
and
a
eggs
brunch.
I don't remember, Pete.
I was like... I was like, if that's not the creepiest marketing slogan I've ever heard. Legs and eggs.
Legs and eggs. Legs and eggs. Just giving you an update. No, it's totally creepy. No, listen. Also on that card, it's Mendes, of course, and Lamas, but we have Iaquinta, who we just heard from, versus Jorge Masvidal. Mike Chiesa versus Mitch Clark. We have Juliana Pena, the Ultimate Fighter winner, who then got injured immediately after. Haven't heard from her since she won the Ultimate Fighter, so this is fantastic. We're going to have her come back. And she and Mike Chiesa are teammates as they're training together, getting each other ready. She's fighting Judeva. We also have Clay Guida, who is a veteran of the sport, who recently left Jackson's MMA and has been training up at Alpha Male. So Clay, we might see some different looks from him. I'm looking forward to seeing him against Robbie Peralta and Dustin Poirier against Fajeda. Good stuff. I'm going to be on. The weigh-ins are early in the morning. We have a 9 a.m. on the West Coast, noon on the East Coast on Friday for the weigh-ins. Fight day, the fights start 11 a.m. on the East Coast, 8 a.m. on the West Coast. Dude, I have like a 4 a.m. call time on Saturday morning. Ouch.
So
but again,
none of us feel sorry
to the coal workers out there, to the people who really truly work.
So hold on, you had to be on set at 4 a.m.
Yes, my call time is 4 a.m. Now, luckily, I just get to roll into work, and there's somebody there to try to do my makeup and make me pretty. Somebody there to dress me. Somebody there to fetch me Red Bulls and coffee. But it's early.
It's gonna be a tough morning for you.
It's a tough morning. But the great thing is, it's almost 10 seconds. The great thing is after the weigh-ins on Friday, my girls and I, my wardrobe, Wade, plug your ears. My hair and makeup and wardrobe, we've already planned the liquid lunch and a little shopping on Friday.
Oh, cool.
We've earned it at that point, Pete.
You put in a very early day.
Do you know what though? It's funny. I actually don't mind getting up in the morning. I used to do overnight radio way back in the day, and I used to do morning show radio. Like I actually, the getting up part is sort of the pain, but once I'm there, I don't mind it.
Yeah, it's all right.
You know.
So listen, I do have to say, Iaquinta, totally cool guy.
Totally cool guy.
Totally cool. And I don't know if that like gym in Long Island, if they're just producing like Chris Weidman clones, like have they figured out like some lab? But the guy, I mean, and I'm really excited to see him fight.
No, it's great. And actually, speaking of Chris Weidman, really funny clip if you look on again YouTube /Karyn Bryant that I shot in the studio last week. Weidman was co-hosting with us on UFC Tonight. DC stirring up some smack between Weidman and
in the trash can? Was that in the liquid coffee?
Yes. Round 4. Let's hear what Liz Carmouche, who is the featured prelim fight of UFC Fairfax, what she has to say. I talked to her about the food that she has to give up when she's fighting, and she's got something that I believe 95% of us love. Let's take a listen to Liz Carmouche. So, Liz, I need to ask you about something. I was going through your Twitter feed, and you posted a picture of, I want to say, bacon Oreos. Explain.
I love bacon.
Okay.
So, like, the degree to which I love bacon is kind of ridiculous. Okay. I mean, so the way it usually works with my diet is I take 6 days where I'm super strict with my diet, and then 1 day where I lose my mind and I eat everything in sight.
Okay.
Well, losing my mind consists of I have to have bacon on that day. I mean, my nutritionist tried to say try and eat in excess the food that you're craving before you can't have it, and maybe you won't want it anymore. I tried. I can never be done with bacon. I love bacon. And it's one of those things where I'm sitting there and I have my breakfast planned out and I'm cooking the bacon. I have to cook 2 packages of bacon. One while I'm actually cooking because I just do this.
Yeah, oh my God.
So when I saw bacon cream Oreos, I was like, okay, it sounds really disgusting, but I just have to know. I have to know. So I'm going to hunt them down, go on one of my food journeys and find bacon cream Oreos.
Because I saw that and I didn't know if it was a joke, you know? I mean, and I know that so it's real.
Yeah.
Okay, because I will tell you this, I guess to not the same degree that you love bacon, but I am a fan as well. My friend had once sent me she had chocolate covered bacon. Mm-hmm. So I was up visiting her and she's like, you got to try this. I was like, oh, that is nasty. That is the greatest thing I've ever eaten in my life. So it's ridiculous, right? So same thing the other day, I saw her, we were up visiting her and I mentioned something about bacon. Where'd you get that bacon chocolate? Well, next day, like she overnighted me some bacon chocolate. So there is a brand. It wasn't just the chocolate covered bacon, but there is a brand. I should grab it from the cabinet. I didn't eat it all at once, but it's chocolate with bacon bits in it, and it's really, really good. Yeah. So that leads me to ask then. So what do you miss the most when you can't? The one thing that you can't have, and apparently I guess but bacon's protein, so I would think you'd be able to still have some of that.
It's just a lot of saturated fat and unhealthy fat. And for me, I don't like to take chances when it comes to my fights. The last thing I want to do is give 20% of my purse to my opponent because I didn't have the discipline. Yeah. So I don't take any risks when it comes to my diet. If that means cutting out every food possible, I will cut it out and I will be on weight. I do not play. I'm one of the fighters on the team. Everybody thinks I'm ridiculous just because of how strict I get. And so, definitely after my fight, it's like, okay, I want bacon, steak, and I want fries.
Nice. Nice. Well, look, Wade with the assist. So it's Moe's Milk Bar from Vosges or whatever. Okay.
I have tried that one.
Oh, you have? Oh, okay. And then there's dark chocolate too.
Yeah, I'm not a dark chocolate fan.
No?
So.
All right, more for me then.
There you go. I'm actually not a big chocolate fan. It's just one of those things where bacon sweet with okay, I'll try it.
Yeah.
If you give me caramel, you give me taffy, toffee. Oh, yes. I'm definitely all about those.
All right. Very nice. Very nice. Well, thank you for that. And now I know what to bring you. Bacon, next time we see you. I really appreciate it, Liz. Best of luck in your fight.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so Pete, who doesn't like bacon?
Yeah, but like, you don't, I'm like, she wants to make sure that that's not her Match.com profile.
Really likes bacon.
I like bacon. You can put it in cookies. I don't even care if it's real. Just give me bacon flavor.
Right.
And in the morning, I'm going to wake up with bacon breath.
It sounds like that dog food commercial. We're like, it's bacon. No, what is it? The bacon bits. But I'm telling you, those bacon bars that my friend sent me are really good. The bacon chocolate, dude.
How, like, I'm sorry, but like, how lonely and heartbroken was a girl who took a piece of bacon and dipped it into some melted,
It sounds
dipped it in
much
some
more
melted
like
chocolate and went,
dude, no. It sounds much more like something a guy would do.
bacon and chocolate?
Yeah.
No, come on,
Epic
that's
meal
a
time.
heartbroken.
They put all
Tammy,
kinds of crap.
Tammy, I know what will get you over him. I've got bacon and I've got chocolate, girlfriend. Now,
Listen, no, girls, for legit, girls need chocolate. I'm not saying we don't need chocolate. Certain times of the month, a girl needs chocolate. But I would not have thought of bacon. Okay, so listen, I should hype up the fact that Liz Carmouche is the featured prelim on UFC Fairfax, so you'll see her on Fox Sports 1, and she is fighting Lauren Murphy. I have a full interview with Liz Carmouche that I already did. She's a super cool chick, and she was literally this close to beating Ronda Rousey in that first fight. It was really intense. She's a super cool chick, and she's a former Marine, so we actually talk about, there's a lot of discussion about women on the front lines right now of combat. Liz is all for it. She has a lot to say about the matter, and she's been there. Pete, she's so much tougher than you and I. Like, it's like we're like, it's embarrassing how much tougher that girl is.
I think we're pretty much know that.
All right, listen, folks. You know what round 5 means. It's high old guy's turn to just take over. You got 7 seconds. You ready, Pete? You ready to do this?
Stretch out, everybody. It's coming hard.
Boom!
Hey!
Hey! High five!
High five! All right, listen. So there were some good fights this weekend.
Yeah.
But the whole time I can't help think, like, I'm not watching the UFC, though. I'm watching Bellator and World Series of Fight. It's like when I shop in, like, Old Navy. I'm like, yeah, everything fits and the prices are good, but it's not the Gap. I feel like I've gone a little cheaper. And listen, I realized that there's a couple of reasons. First, Bellator, they fight in a circle. Yeah. The circle sucks, man. Even the refs know the circle sucks. Or the announcer, the announcer's like, and in the red corner, it's like, no, dude, there's no corner. It's it's a circle. Okay. Let me show you how a circle works here. I'm going to show you guys.
You got visuals.
Here's a circle. Here's the circle. Okay, there's no red corner. There's a red curve. Sure. There's a red, like, it's about a 45-degree curve if we're going to get technical, but there's no goal. And have you ever tried to meet someone in a Bellator fight? Like, yeah, dude, I'm up at 2 o'clock. Well, no, 2 o'clock from my 6 o'clock right now. Oh, wait, you don't? Okay, hold on. Wait, where are you? Okay, do you remember the exit we came in? Okay, if the exit's 4 o'clock, I'm going to be 2. So listen, I got a thing, man. Okay, are you ready? And this is why Bellator needs to hire me as their marketing executive. Yeah. Okay, I'm suggesting they fight in the trapezoid. The trapezoid. Hey, where are you, dude? Yeah, I'm in the lower left corner. Oh, okay, man, I'll be right there. You see how easy that is? And first of all, close your eyes, everybody. Imagine a commercial of a roach motel, and you tell me what sounds tougher. The roaches go into the octagon, or the roaches go into the trapezoid.
It's trapezoid.
Right? The trapezoid. No one gets out of the trapezoid. So,
I'm just thinking, too, if a dude gets cornered in that little tight corner of trapezoid, that's dangerous.
Come on, that's the toughest name out there. So anyway, I got, and I have a few more suggestions, too. Okay, ring card girls, okay?
Yes, lovely.
Why are these girls going up between rounds in bikinis? Come on, it is 2015. Let's lose the bikinis. Dude, come on. It's topless ring card girls. It's like, dude, that's like self-adhesive envelopes. It's a no-brainer. I mean, what are we waiting for? Like, Bellator, break the 4-minute mile. Give us the topless ring card, girls, okay? Seriously.
Wow.
I mean, listen. Okay, ready?
Yeah,
I got
I'm
the
ready.
slogan. I got the slogan. Come for the boobs, stay for the bouts. Bellator. Okay? Listen, okay, I understand that we may lose some like grandmothers and school moms. That's a pretty small percentage of the audience.
Yeah, you
But I'll
lose
tell
a
you what you
few.
will gain. Horny pacifists. Okay, which is like every male who ever went to college in the Northeast is suddenly going to be like, I don't like fighting per se, but the topless ring girls. So, okay, so topless ring girls. All right, so how much time do I have?
1 minute 15 seconds.
Oh, all right. I got a few rule changes too, because if you're going to offer a slightly lesser product, you can't offer the same product. You gotta have a few, right? In the fight, you get 2 ball shots per fight. But these are like timeouts in football. Like, how awesome would it be if well, you know, Jose Aldo, Conor McGregor are dead even at 2 rounds apiece, but Aldo still has both ball shots left, and we head into round 5. I mean, come on, you're so into that now. Okay, ready? Round 1, before the fight, each fighter does 3 shots of Jameson's and a beer funnel. Dude, you're like, I don't care if it's a Tai Chi artist fighting a human manatee. If you get them drunk, I'm now really interested. All right, ready? Round 2, you get to bring into the ring 1 item from Staples or whatever your sponsor is. Come on. For round 3, Aldo's chosen a staple gun, and McGregor's coming into the octagon, with a letter opener. It's gonna be a huge fight. Round 3, the fence is electrified, and eye gouging is allowed for the last 30 seconds. I'm just.
Wow. Those are solid ideas.
Well, hold. I have more.
Oh, you have more? Well, listen. Let's go to overtime, Pete. Please share. I feel like the fans need to hear this.
All right. Well,
we'll go to overtime.
Listen. I'm really offering marketing gold here. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, do you even know what Bellator means?
It's something about like a fighter or a warrior or something like that.
Right. Bellator is Latin for warrior or warlike.
Okay.
Yeah, which is great for all the fans who are classic majors.
Right.
3 of them. So like, here's the problem: is you don't know. Even Bellator has to put like Bellator MMA because you can't. But like, okay, the UFC Ultimate Fighting Championship
sounds badass.
Pretty much says what it is.
Right.
Perfect name. But you can go too far because like the World Series of Fighting is like. That's kind of like they sort of shot their load on the name. It's like, what, this week's the World Series of Fighting? Because I thought last week was also the World Series of Fighting, and and
supposed to be once a year.
No, it's so they. Oh, and here's another thing I can't get over the. Do you know the World Series of Fighting fights in a decagon?
Right. Yeah. Okay. So 10 sides.
The decagon. Yeah, no, I understand it's 10 sides, but like the only thing that I hear is like UFC imitation. Like, dude, when I got engaged, my sister-in-law, my future sister-in-law,
right.
she popped a bubbly, and it was a bottle of Charlemagne. Because it can't legally be called champagne because it's not from the Champagne region of France. And she saved a few bucks.
Charlemagne.
And hey, no, so, and that's what like the decagon.
Wasn't Charlemagne like a total traitor in the French Revolution or something?
Charlemagne is like champagne that wasn't actually done in Champagne. And it was like, okay, listen, I understand if it wasn't kind of my engagement champagne. I sort of thought like,
she doesn't love you that much, Pete. That's all she's saying right there.
All right, so anyway, ready? This is the name. This is the new name of Bellator. Okay. Let's see this. Ready? Bellator is NRFWTRG.
Now, really?
No rules fighting with topless ring girls. Seriously.
Rolls off the tongue, Pete.
Okay. I want you to imagine, and I need to ask Wade, like,
yeah.
Okay, you come to this Earth, you're an alien.
Okay, come on. You come down to the Earth and you're an alien.
Yeah.
All right, wait. Okay, you come down to Earth, you're an alien. You've never heard of the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
All right.
You come down, and I say, welcome to our planet, and then inexplicably start telling you what's on TV. And I say, hello, Martian. On Fox Sports 1, we have Ultimate Fighting Championship.
Badass.
And over on Spike, we have No Rules Fighting with Topless Ring Club. Come on, Wade. Which one are you watching?
Yeah, we'll be on the topless girls fighting.
Okay, but the assumption is that aliens are boob men, and that's ridiculous. You can't assume that.
I think everyone's a boob.
Is everybody a boob
person?
That's a good point. Aliens could be like, well, they're just clumps of fat, right? Well, no, but they're
what if
good
it's a female alien who comes down and she's like, how about where's the ultimate fighting with men with big wallets?
Well, in an ideal world, they'd all be lesbians. So.
Well, they'd all be lesbians. They'd all be hot lesbians.
Interesting, because that's what I was thinking of calling Invicta.
Oh.
So I'm glad you brought that up. Listen, I don't have all the answers. I'm just saying, Bellator, you're kind of losing the marketing race. You need to call me. We need to, we got to think outside the circle that you're fighting in. Let's expand. All right? The trapezoid.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you. Well, listen, well worth the overtime here in round 5 with the high old guy. You were like extra motivated this week. I love that.
Well, I just got this feeling all week. I'm like, hey, some of these fights are exciting, but it's just not. It's not the UFC. I was a little snobby.
You're a little snobby. But, all kidding aside, Scott Coker, who was the former head of Strikeforce, going over to take over Bellator after Bjorn Rebney, I think he is going to do some good things. I think, Scott, there were a lot of people who liked him as the head of Strikeforce. I think he's going to probably do some good things over there. And Ray Sefo, who's in charge of World Series of Fighting, is a fighter, a former fighter himself. I'm glad there's more outlets. And yes, there are some people when we look at this and it's Francis Carmouche and it's L.C. Davis and these guys that we've seen in other organizations. But I'm glad they're still having the opportunity because clearly, as we saw this past weekend, there's still some very entertaining fights to be made, Yeah.
No, and listen, who are we kidding? If you give me a cold beer and you tell me two people are going to fight in front of me with different camera angles,
right?
I'm not going to be too picky. I'm not going to, he's not quite a world champion. I'm like, all right, let's see him fight. I'll have a sip.
Yeah, absolutely. But with that being said, I am looking forward, to the big UFC show this weekend. Chad Mendes is such a talented guy, and though he and Ricardo Lamas, like we said before, both fell to Jose Aldo, they're such talented guys, and I feel like, Chad Mendes, for most people in the division, he beats everybody else pretty much. Right. Ricardo Lamas also really riding a hot streak until he lost to Aldo. Both of those guys are so good, but I am curious, what you think, Pete, if you saw anything this week, because I was fortunate enough to spend some time with Jose Aldo and Conor McGregor, and I just... I have such respect for both of those fighters. I've been an Aldo fan for a long time, and he's so ferocious and so there's something about him I find just like I'd love because in person he's a very sweet man, and he has just a warm, lovely smile, and he's just a gentle person when you're with him, and he's a lovely man. And then you see him go in, and you're like, oh my God, like he just wrecks people. Those kicks, he's so ferocious. And Conor, if our fans haven't figured out that I like to talk, Conor's a dream. Conor's the guy you want to spend all day with. You want to sit in the bar and have like 10 beers with Conor. So that fight, and they're both so talented, I could argue it either way. But the featherweight division, I guess this is my point, is just really, really exciting right now. So to see where Chad and Ricardo shake out in this mix, to me, is really interesting.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So. Well, and so people should know this, that we have interviews with Conor McGregor and Jose Aldo. Both of them are about 35 minutes long from this past week when they came out to do their media tour for UFC 189. So those are on our YouTube /Karyn Bryant, or you can find them on our MMA Heat fan page. And then Conor, Dana, and Jose all came to see me at Fox. So if you go to the UFC on Fox web page on YouTube, you'll see I had all three of them there. That got a little awkward.
Did you speak Portuguese?
I did. At Fox, I didn't because it was just easier for us to just have the girl Lillian translate it. But in the interview with Jose, when it's just us with Jose, yes, I spoke all Portuguese to him, and to me, it's a respect thing. I feel like I have so much respect for him that literally he and other Brazilian fighters are the reason I learned the language. But it's nice for me to be able to just chat with him.
A little bit of a show off
comfortable, and it's cool. Listen, I still make mistakes, Pete, but my Portuguese is pretty good.
Well, didn't you tell me that you're Portuguese because it's so like you've just learned it, so it's right out of the book. So it's like, hello, how are you? I am fine. My name is Karyn.
I'm a total school marm, and they know all this slang that I don't know, but it's true. Like it does help put guys like Jose and these other fighters at ease. It's easier.
Right.
They get what I'm coming from, and I really truly did it as a respect thing, and also because I knew that if their interpreters
hold on, was that for Trulies?
Yes, I really mean it, Pete.
Okay, because I don't believe you unless it's at least 3. So it was 4. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. It's a hard language. It's not easy. But I listen, I also want to go. I want to be embedded for the Olympics in Brazil next year. I just want to go and be like the Fox Sports reporter in Brazil. How great would that be?
That's nice.
Right. What languages do you speak?
I hope you'll have me do the. I hope High Old Guy will be.
High Old Guy. Do you speak any other languages?
Sports presents High Old Guy.
Do you speak other languages? Yes. No.
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 I took French and then Latin, which is like dumb and then dumber. It's like, I mean, I can't talk to anybody. I'm like, if Caesar walks by, I can maybe be like, Caesar is a boy going to La Villa.
But the Latin is good for the root because it's the root of everything. So you're.
Listen, I have a slight stutter. I have a problem talking English. I can't even, throw in another language. You're like, okay, now not only are you not gonna stutter, but you need to roll that R too.
Nice.
Yes.
Listen, Pete, let's wrap this up. It's spring break next week. We'll be back in the MMA Heat podcast studio. Really looking forward to this. For the rest of spring break, really, you're seriously just dumping your kids at camp and drinking all day.
I think dumping, Karyn, is... I think you've lost your journalist integrity when you use words like dumping. I think you're starting to put on your opinion into that word. I believe
a little bit of a pejorative
dropping
statement.
my children off and at their fun camp. It's that just, hey, ignore the fact that your teacher is also your counselor, but hey, no homework. No. Listen, I understand that my kids are going to be on a psychiatrist's couch sometime in the future, and they're just going to be like, but luckily I got identical twins, so if I screw one up, I can just look at the other one and be like, well, where were you to help out? You really deserted him. I was just, so feel okay with myself.
Nice. And on Twitter, where can people find you, Pete?
My Noogie. MINDNOGIE.
Yes, listen, and Pete went to his, I don't know if that was your first NASCAR race last weekend, but you're living large. You're doing big things, so people should follow you.
Oh, totally follow me. Listen, if you follow me, I promise you that at least once a month you're going to go, I'm shocked, dismayed, and slightly amused, but I feel weird about being amused, so I'm mostly shocked and dismayed. And you'll probably be like, really?
Really? Okay. Really, dude? Well, nice. Well, you can find me at YouTube/Karyn Bryant, Karyn. Bryant like Kobe, though I am a Celtics fan. You can also look me up on MMA Heat on Facebook. And as I said, got interviews with Liz Carmouche and Iaquinta so far, who are on UFC Fairfax. A couple more things I'm trying to line up for this week. Fighters be dicey. Fighters be dicey on fight week. But I'm definitely... What?
So, sorry, I do have to say something that... We did get 3 people who gave Andre Feely, they gave a couple nicknames.
Yes.
And I promised to drink from the flask of death. We're just not in the studio,
Next
so I don't
week.
have the flask of death. I have the spiked coffee of life.
Right.
But I will next podcast. I will drink whatever syrup is in the
Nice
flask of death
syrup.
in
And
honor
also,
of.
yes, and so like I said, we have the interview with Liz Carmouche, the interview with Al Iaquinta. Really funny clip I shot last week on UFC Tonight with Chris Weidman, Daniel Cormier, and Luke Rockhold on the phone. DC was already spinning a fight because Luke is fighting Lyoto Machida. Chris Weidman, of course, fighting Vitor Belfort. DC, who is Luke's teammate, believes Luke will beat Machida and eventually fight Chris Weidman, so he's already stirring the pot between these guys. But Chris Weidman told me a really amazing story that we are going to share on our podcast next week. And I don't even want to give anything away except to say it is one of the most shocking, horrifying, hilarious things I've ever heard in my lifetime. And so we're going to share that on the podcast next week. Chris is a great guy. I'm really amazed that he's...
So give us a hint. Is there a dead body?
That's all I'll say.
Is there a dead body involved?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay. All right.
Maybe not. Real fun. So that is going to be on the show next week. I will be on UFC Tonight. I will be on the weigh-in show on Fox. I will be on Fight Day. I would say Fight Night, Fight Morning. Going to be a lot of fun.
By the way, can you help me? Okay, are my eyes wide enough now if I hold them like this?
They're pretty wide.
Are they wide? Because your eyes seem to be open, but mine seem. So is this unnatural now if I start to talk like this?
That looks unnatural.
Really? It doesn't look. It doesn't like. Hey, it doesn't look like I'm trying to hypnotize people. Okay. I don't know. I got to get. I'm like looking at and I'm like, no wonder people have said hi, old guy. Like I look.
You look pretty high.
High and middle age, I would have said.
You look a little high.
I know, but okay. Here we go.
Thanks, Pete. It's been fun.
Been fun too, Karyn. I'll see you next week.
I'll see you in the studio next week.
Oh my God, I'm ordering. There's so much dust flying in them.
I'll see you next week, Pete. Thanks for watching, everybody.